Hi everybody, it's Miss Warren here. Now, today we're going to look at the opposite of last time. Last time we looked at the positives of the internet. We're going to look at some of the negatives of the internet. Now, one of the negatives of the internet in terms of researching for information, the problem is, yes, you can click it in, it's quick, but not everything you read on the internet is correct. You know, sometimes you can get people's opinions, you can get complete lies. There's so much information out there that you have to, sometimes it can be too much information, and it has to be a case of whether you know what's the truth and what's not, which sometimes, believe it or not, is harder than it sounds, because people can be very convincing in what they say, or they could be putting an argument across for something they believe in, which that could be great and that's their opinion, but doesn't mean it's right. A fact, opinion, and that's something you need to think about on that one. Now, one thing I find annoying about the internet, it's certainly a negative to me, is pop-ups, adverts, things that just decide to interrupt your screen. YouTube, that can happen if you don't pay for the actual service. There will be adverts pop up. Now, some adverts can be great. Sometimes you will go off and then buy something, but most of the time it's things you're not interested in, or it's trying to take you off to something completely different that you would have never looked at, but it's interrupted what you were looking at. Okay, now thinking of pop-ups, that's where the internet can also be, it can be unsafe, which we will go in further on another video about being unsafe and keeping safe on the internet. But a negative on that one is, you know, especially for young people, things can come up that could scare people, scare young people. It could be images. There was images going around in the past which were quite frightening for people. There is sometimes, unfortunately, there's inappropriate content, you know, people advertising things, things that are far too old for the person who's watching. So we need to be aware of that as well. One thing the internet can bring, although social media does have its positives, you know, we do use it, we have got the internet, Facebook, YouTube, you know, the Snapchat, all different things that we can use. But unfortunately, we've become a little bit of the like culture, in terms of people can become quite obsessed with likes, you know, getting a like, spend their time checking their phone, checking their devices, comparing themselves to others. You know, it can take up a lot of people's time, and it's not really a healthy thing to be doing. And coming on to that, it's a fact that it can go on 24/7, you know, 24 hours a day, the internet is there, you can go on. It can affect people's sleep because they spend too much time on there, you know, which then affect your schoolwork. You come into work, school tired, you know, you maybe haven't had time to have your breakfast because you've been too busy watching something or texting somebody, or, you know, using these sorts of things on the internet that before you wouldn't have had. So that's something to think about. Now, another thing, there's two bits linking. It's gambling, which you're not at that age to do that yet. But, you know, some people can get involved with gambling, which can be quite addictive, spending money that they potentially don't have. Now, this is also a problem in young people's games, children's games. Now, a lot of them do have what they call in-app purchases. Now, this is something where you're playing the game, you get stuck on a level, and you can just buy 99 pence maybe to get you through, to buy some gems. Now, it doesn't sound too bad doing it once, but then it can happen again and again. Now, quite often, unfortunately, parents aren't always aware of this. Their cards could be linked and it's coming out of their account several times. Now, my son, a big example of this was when he was little. He was reading the Chip and Biff, I can't even remember, but you know the books I'm talking about. He was reading them, had the free online one. I was quite new to using apps, so wasn't really knowing what I was doing. And he managed, I had a transaction come in my account for more money than I had in my account, put it that way. At the time, it was actually for £250. He bought the full collection. Now, thankfully, I was able to get in contact with the Apple at the time, you know, get in contact and say this is done in error. But there are times they will not give you your money back because it's down to having safety devices in place, so you can end up in a lot of financial issues. And again, this is down to the internet with apps that you can use. Now, one other thing with the internet, because again, you don't want to go on and on and on, but a certain negative is viruses. It's so easy these days to get a virus. Now, I don't mean in terms of like COVID, that type of virus. It's a virus within a computer system. It can be sent in an email. The latest one that's been quite going around is you get something, and as soon as you open it, it sends it to all your contacts, and it's then looping, and more people are getting the same thing. It could be a case it completely stops your whole computer working, and it can wipe everything out. Data can be stolen. Now, this is often through hacking. So hacking can go on, and you can be involved as where someone can do identity theft that can completely wipe you out or pretend to be you. That can, you know, some things can be quite highly dangerous. Now, there is other things that can go on where people can end up quite badly harmed, but we're all going to go into that later when we do look at online safety and how to be safe. So for now, bye. I'll see you later.